squareness and the orderliness to realize that he had climbed the mountain of shit to pluck the single rose and discovered that he'd lost his sense of smell. And rather than sit there and insist that it wasn't as bad as it seemed, and he did get the rose in any event, he climbed back down again, which is pretty cool.
The way Aaron always saw it is that programming is magic, right? You can accomplish these things that normal humans can't by being able to program. So if you had magical powers, would you use them for good or to make you mountains of cash?
Schwartz was inspired by one of the visionaries he had met as a child, the man who had invented the World Wide Web, Tim Berners-Lee. In the 1990s, Berners-Lee was arguably sitting on one of the most lucrative inventions of the 20th century, but instead of profiting from the invention of the World Wide Web, he gave it away for free. It is the only reason the World Wide Web exists today.
Aaron is certainly deeply influenced by Tim. Tim is certainly a very prominent early internet genius who doesn't in any sense cash out. He's not at all interested in how he's going to figure out how to make $1 billion.
You would have seen, there's money's been made there, so there would have been lots of little webs instead of one big one. And one little web, lots of little webs doesn't work because you can't follow links from one to the other. You know, you had to have the critical masses that was in that land. So it's not going to work.
I have the anonymous documentary on the story of Aaron Swalp's documentary. I've seen it before. I know Aaron's story, but if you just listen again.
It's not enough to just live in the world as it is, to just kind of take what you're given and, you know, follow the things that adults told you to do and that your parents told you to do and that society tells you to do. I think you should always be questioning. You know, I take this very scientific attitude that everything you've learned is original, that, you know, it's always open to recantation or refutation or questioning. And I think the same applies to society. Once I realized that there were real serious problems, fundamental problems that I could do something to address, I didn't see a way to forget that. I didn't see a way not to.
We just started
Rest in peace, Aaron. Rest in peace. This is a call for all people who have been diagnosed or undiagnosed with autism and have been disabled and told that you are a problem to society and that you are hidden from society and your gifts and your talents have been taken away from you. Not purposely, but also purposely, but not by the people that don't understand that this is purposely. The reason that I call you is because your gifts and talents are needed, and they are needed now. And you need to come out of your disabled box and into your enabled box. And as hard as it's going to be around people and feeling, because people think that people with autism don't have empathy. That is bullshit. In fact, they are empaths. And they are the upgrade of the human beings, whether you like it or not, from the neurotypicals to the autistic mind and brain. If you have a look, and I can put a picture down here, the neurotypical brain only functions so many neurons within the brain, and the Asperger's brain doesn't. Aaron is clearly autistic. It's very easy to notice people who are one cellular track gifted, and he mastered and cracked the whole. In fact, Aaron pretty much created the internet that we know today. And the person who was talking after was the person who funded and put it all together, and it was a gift. It was to be given away for free. It wasn't to be profitized from. It wasn't to be monopolized from. It was a free gift to connect the world back up. One of the reasons that we had language was to separate and divide us as people. Countries and counties, we're not separate from anybody. If I go out my gate now, I've had a lovely evening. I don't want to get off on a track today because I am calling autistic people in. So before I go off, for those who are coming in for the first time, just because you've seen the label that you're autistic, my name is Kelly. I'm a Taurus. I am female. I'm a mother. I have a partner. No, I'm not married. I know. I like coconut. I love the smell of coconut. Coconut brings me a lot of peace. Coconut oil brings me a lot of peace. Different colour purple on today, I know, but I felt like I had to put purple on because I was calling autistic, and I know it's a slightly different shade. It's a bit of a mix between my red and my purple. And if I get seen on live wearing this, it's my son's, and I'm not allowed to wear. No one wears my son's fleece, but I've stolen it just for you, just so you can identify with the colour. But I have a lighter that has the purple colour on for you. So there you go, the bright purple for people who are coming under the autistic banner. And before I go off onto a tangent, the reason that I've asked you to come in and call and what it is that I talk about is because I like to bridge the gap between where people are and where they want to be. And people who are diagnosed with autism, just like everybody else who are diagnosed with something in this country, are rubber stamped with the disabled label. Now where personal independent payments was a step in the right direction, but not good enough because it's still the same old form. It's just got a different title. They haven't actually changed it, and neither have job coaches. But your gifts and your talents are really, really, really important. And some of you may not have actually unlocked them. Some of you may never have had the opportunity to express yourself the way that you need to without being told that there's something wrong with you. If you do have an Asperger's daughter, by the way, and she spends a lot of time twisting her feet and her legs around, it's okay, she's a dancer. And if you have somebody in your classroom, and this isn't just typical to all just autistic people, I don't want to discriminate and alienate anybody. Everybody, we need your gifts and talents as a country and as a community. Everybody's got to come together right now. It's really important. It's a really important time to do this, especially with it being summer holidays, especially as lots of people in the UK are living in tower blocks. I'm really lucky where I am, as far as where I am, in terms of the fact that we have a community garden, and not a lot of the tower blocks have a community garden. So where I live, I'm considered quite blessed to be in this particular tower block. If you're going to be in a tower block, then this is predominantly the better tower block to be in. And a lot of people have social anxiety, and social anxiety certainly comes with being autistic. I don't like to say being autistic because the word autism and Asperger's comes again the same as Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is my physical body condition. It comes from a name of a person. But we do need the autistic community right now to move to a different level, and that is to just accept that autism is not a disability. It is not something that we suffer with. It's not a mental health condition. Autism is not mental health. Autism is a gift. It is an upgrade of the brain. It is using more capacity. In fact, it's going to practically. So say typically if a neurotypical is only using 20%, 30, 40, 50% of their brain, then an Asperger's person is pretty much running 80, 90% of their brain. So if you imagine a computer with RAM, and a neurotypical person would have maybe one or two. I don't know how much a computer can take. That's not my gift or talent or skill, or I've never crossed into it if it is, but I hope not. I hope not. I would never ever want to be stuck in a computer all day. But if there's say 10 RAMs in here, then a neurotypical would predominantly run at 4 or 5, and an Asperger's person would be running at 8, 9, and potentially overloading to 12, 13, 14 and pushing it to its brink. It's the other way. Autism and Asperger's, which is now actually autism altogether, the doodah spectrum is actually the other way around. It's people associate autism with the likes of, and I don't want to say his name now because he's been on the fucking list, and I'm not happy about this list. This list is really, I need to change the title because this would really confuse a lot of autistic Asperger's people right now. But some people will get me, some people won't. But let me just carry on. Oh shit, I don't want to say his name. I don't want to say his name because if he is and he's on this list, it's going to just rock my world. It really is. In The Rain Man, the person who plays the autistic person, that is the association that I'm not even going to say because he can't be. He just has to know him and that's it. I have to remember that some people on this list, some people haven't fully investigated and questioned, which is why I don't want to put anybody out there who's on this list, because this list, that obviously I'm not just talking about his telephone book list, I'm talking about the people where accusations have been made that trump more than a few that even Trump is looking into. So, and don't forget, Trump decided to do this a long time ago, as soon as he came into association with these people through his daddy's business of you know, the girls on Miss Universe and all of that. He saw into this world a long time ago, so he's been planning this a long time. So yeah, so I don't really want to say that some of these people on this list were part of this really horrible ring that's gone on, because once you make an allegation against somebody on anything to do with paedophilia, actually means to love a child, but to go beyond paedophilia and into what these people are doing with these trafficking and murdering and ritualizing of children, which is really horrible, and I can't take it anymore, and I really can't take it anymore, and deeper and deeper. And don't forget, I've known this stuff way before you guys are coming in and learning this stuff. I'm still here, I'm still banging it out, I'm still taking the shit for saying that satanic rituals and body parts and organs go missing and shit like that, and people don't want to believe this stuff. I don't want to believe it either. I want to close my ears to it. I want to close my eyes to it. I want to stop shutting up and not talk about it. And it's really going to hurt me if the people on this list are. I'll tell you which one which really rocked me. I used to really, really like the program Seventh Heaven. And when the man on that got pulled in on all of this stuff, fucking how it rocked my world. It really did. And also a few other people along the world. And in fact, I wanted to write to Jim Savile today, but I realised that we can't, because Jim will can't fix it anymore, can he? But I am going to write to the BBC to do it, to come here and actually do a programme on this place here. I can stay silent for a bit, do you know what I mean? But there are a few other people here that might not do so. But yeah, I want to get this place sorted, because I can't sit and watch how people have been disabled and shoved into the benefit system. Don't forget, I haven't lived in this world before, so it's a bit weird for me. And coming from the mindset that I come from to being here is really difficult, because it's like it's taking a really happy, bubbly person and putting them around a lot of miserable, depressed people, and that's really difficult to do, because yeah, it's really hard. I want to high five everybody and say good morning and hello and hey, how you doing? Hey, good morning. And it's just sort of not like that here, but it will be before I go. Some of them do, and there is a little community within here, but it's little communities within little communities and little communities within little communities, and it's all very, really weird. And I talk to everybody, but not everybody talks to everybody, and not every nationality crosses over, and we sometimes get times where Romanians sit over one side and Polish sit over another side, and like it really is like that here. In fact, actually, we have Iranian here, we have Nigerian here, we have Ghana here, we have British here. Actually, quite a lot of them are British, but come from other countries, born British. Well, fucking hell, we probably have over a different hundred, probably even over that, different nationalities here. We have Indian, Pakistani, we have Lithuanian, Philippines, Hong Kong, China, Gurkha. Oh God, I could keep going. For every child that I know here, there's a different nationality. And parents, Bosnia. We've got somebody. I definitely know there's a family here from Transylvania. But I tell you what, when you hear their stories and how they come here and what they've been through, I don't think you'd ever be racist. Like seriously, I don't think you'd bother, because at the end of the day, it's us British that's been bombing everybody. Do you know what I mean? It's us Brits that cause them to have to leave their place in the first place. But anyway, it's calling everybody. The world needs everybody, really. But the reason that I'm calling autistic people particularly is because you have a unique gift and talent that's being so suppressed and so pushed down. And some of you might be in institutions. Some of you, don't forget to the neurotypical people. You're either neurotypical or autistic brain, left or right brain. It's up to you. You choose. Well, you don't choose actually, but yeah, whatever. But you'd have to understand the psychology and the science behind it and the brain. But to all autistic people out there, you are very unique. You are very blessed and very gifted and very talented, but you live in a dogmatic system that puts autism under a label that says that you have no empathy and you can't make bonds and you don't give eye contact. Did you know it's rude to give eye contact? Did you know that? Did you know that actually people who don't give eye contact are actually being respectful? It's actually very, 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 and a lot of cultures will tell you that it's made very clear that eye contact only goes on between a married couple. Any other person doesn't give eye contact to any other person, and that's how a lot of practices do believe. So don't ever go at an autistic person who doesn't give you eye contact. We'll look at the bridge of your nose, or we'll look at the top, or we'll look around you. And it's actually quite respectful to do that, because the eyes are the window to the soul, and you have to invite somebody into your soul. So therefore, don't have a go at an autistic person for that, because actually they are very boundary protected. Yes, we overload. Yes, we melt down. Yes, sometimes it gets difficult, but that's just because of the people that we have around us, and that's how people on the spectrum get disabled. You're mad, you're crazy. Overload. And yes, there is no boundaries towards what we say, and there is no boundaries and filters in how we respond as well. If you come to pin us down, because what you've got to remember is in education places, the way that they deal with people like me and every autistic person, and any person under mental health as well, is they restrain you. That's how people are trained to deal with you. So in schools, people with autism are immediately restrained. Can you imagine being a child, having two adults on you and restraining you? They might as well rape you. They might as well. And actually, what you're actually doing to that child, and I'll say this to every teacher and every person who works in any place that is restraining a child, once you put a child into a place of fear and fight and flight, and you wonder why he's kicking you, punching you, freaking biting you, fucking wanting to nut at you, because you know when a child deals with a mum who's a grabber, and my mum was a grabber, you don't know what's coming next. Somebody who bullies you with words, can create more fear because they don't know if something else is coming after. So when you are restraining a child, you're putting that child in a place of complete and utter fucking powerlessness. They have to stop struggling. They are wrestling and fighting with you for their fucking life. When they are down on the floor and you see an autistic, and I hate to call someone autistic, you are by your name and your thing, but I'm talking about the label. Just because you on a piece of paper it says autistic, they have a right to treat you this way. This is bullshit. When that child is down on the floor and they're then going mad because he's kicking and kneeing and biting, well, I'm sorry, but if two adults or 3 or 4, 5, 6, 7, I've seen a child have 10 adults on them. I've even seen a child with, and I'll tell you what, if you do it physically in front of me, I'll take all fucking 10 of you off that kid and sit in front of that kid and go with him until eventually he understands or she understands that I'm not about to rape them, beat them, hurt them, injure them, or do anything to them. Because somebody who's restraining an autistic person, and I hope that someone takes this and freaking puts it in front of somebody and makes them understand and realise they're children. They can't stand up and tell you what you're doing because you'll just restrain them again or you'll institutionalise them. And their parents are having their kids taken off of them because they're coming to the system and they're asking for help for dealing with this themselves, because as parents they don't want to restrain their kids and they're being taught that they have to restrain their kids, and they're saying, no, I'm not going to restrain my child. And then they're dealing with issues over this. And then we're ending up under social services in schools, and these children are being put in. No, this shit stops. I watched Matthew, who is Monique Blakemore's son, here in the UK. She's had to go back to Australia because of the amount of times her son was being restrained in school. You want to see how this boy is thriving back in Australia. The British people restraining children in this manner, in this way. Are you fucking sickheads? Are you absolute numpty sickheads? Stop it. Stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop it. There is a better way. And that way is to stop labelling people in all manners and actually understand that there is a gift and talent in every single one of us. Every single one of us was born with a gift and talent. We're all created with it. It is our unique blessing. It is who we are. This is what we are. We are a blessing to the world. Each and every single one of us is a fucking blessing to the families that we were born into, to the communities that we were around, to the people that we get to know along the way. Each and every single one of us is a blessing. And we should be treated each other and ourselves as that blessing. And that gift and talent comes to us all. But with somebody with autism, there becomes a barrier. And rather than taking this barrier and shoving it up people's asses and making them feel worthless and shit, and that barrier just might even be self-confidence. That barrier might even be that actually they don't want someone to tell them whether it's good or bad. Do you know why I destroy my art? Because I don't give a shit whether you think it's good or bad. Because it was my expression. It was my thinking. It was my understanding. It was my creation. And a lot of people don't want to put it up in exhibits and show people what they can do because they're not fed by ego. They don't need to have their arse wiped by people. They don't need to be glorified or put on a fucking pedestal or called a celebrity because their talent is way beyond. They don't want to be showcased. Look, seriously, that musician who's standing with Greta on that Guardian article, that's fucking disgusting. I am viled and outraged with the Guardian and with the people who did the album and with Greta's parents and with every single person who thinks it's okay for an Asperger's girl to be in a photograph looking very, very uncomfortable with an adult. She's 16. She's 16. He's an adult man. He's an adult man. He's not a boy. He's a man. Like this on there. It's on my wall. I'm fucking outraged, especially in the political state that we're in at the moment, where we're trying to protect the innocence of children who, yes, they do have penises and vaginas and they do get erections at very, very young ages. From the moment they can put their hands on their penis, they will play with it. And from the moment that a little girl can get her fingers near her vagina, she will want to examine and find out what this is. It's completely natural, but that doesn't mean that somebody can violate that space just because somebody comes under some form of vulnerability in understanding the human connections with people and can violate that personal space because she hasn't got the confidence to tell him that that is not appropriate. and actually I suggest you move away. And because she's in the public eye now, she has to behave in a certain manner. Greta, honey, you have every right to tell that man to get off your shoulder, and if he doesn't move him, knock him with your shoulder. If he doesn't move him, bang him with your elbow. And you have my permission to do so, just as you have everybody else's permission to do so. You keep your feet grounded on your thing, and if they come to stand in there and pose, you say, excuse me, can you move your head off my shoulder? This is not appropriate. I'm 16. He will then put his head up like that, and he will look at you. If he steps in forward, step back. Bang. Simple as that. Knock him to the floor. And you're allowed to do that, honey, because he has no right to violate your space like that. You ask him politely. If he chooses not to do so, you will ask him firmly. If he chooses not to do so, you will take direct action. Do you understand? And you'll take direct action with every single person who you are in the media with, every single person who wants to come and stand by you because they want to use you as a trophy. You will be manipulated and used as a pawn by everybody in this movement, Greta. And you're 16 and you need to stand up very wise. You showed the world that you are very submissive by allowing that man to do that. And I hope I never ever see you in another picture where you allow someone to violate your personal boundaries and space like that again. And if the photographer thinks it's okay to take those photographs and not actually say, excuse me, can you put your head up, then I hope he's fired. And I hope the Guardian are pulled in by the fact that they have allowed this photograph to be done. And I hope that the Guardian is very clever, actually, and have allowed this photograph to come through to make us people think. And if people are just watching it using Greta as a little trophy, because she was she is an Asperger's girl. She has chose to make her stand in her yellow jacket, and she decided that she was going to stand for the planet. She's very wise, very educated about the planet, and she's willing to go as far as she can. And she's speaking all through the meetings, all through the United Nations, all through the EU. That girl is speaking all the way around the world about the planet. She knows what she's talking about. She knows what she's doing, and she's very gifted and she's very talented. But I am saying that she has every right to assert her own boundaries and own personal space and her own, she's 16. She's a 16-year-old girl, yes, and no adult should be using her in any way, shape or form. And unless that man's going to grow up and be her husband, then I don't know, age gaps later on when she's 18, 19, but even social services had an issue with Will Smith's daughter being paraded with an older man, and even social services went in and said, Will Smith, no, this is actually why his wife's name's just gone completely from my head, but it's why she actually now is a campaigner for child trafficking, because her eyes were opened. She was not educated, she is educated now. And yes, when it comes to people with autism, we have to learn to chameleonize and mask a lot of things that are not particularly natural to us, but it's quite natural to the rest of the world, because it's wrong and it's not right, and it needs to be stopped. And it doesn't matter who you are. I'm not going to stand under this Homo sapien label. Yes, we are Homo sapiens, but I'm not into the next level that comes with this, with gender neutralization. However, I did have a very, very interesting conversation with a transgender married couple. We were the first British transgender couple, and blessings to them. And they're going through surrogacy, not adoption. And each to everybody's own in what somebody chooses to do. But when you are violating somebody who is legally, we have this legal law for children to be protected, because some people don't know what's best for themselves sometimes, and we do need to have some form of guidelines. When you're an adult and you don't know what's best for yourself, it's a bit different. But once a child's been fucked up, they've been fucked up for life. And if we bring a lot of fucked up children into the world, we bring a lot of fucked up adults into the world. Do you know what I mean? So, if children have had the best chance and then they fuck up as an adult, that's their fuck up. But if, you know, we're fucking our children up, then that's our fuck up, because we're fucking the world up. Do you know what I mean? And it all just becomes one big fuck up. And I would pretty much say that right now the world is fucked. And if we, the people, don't like fucking shut the fuck up and actually, you know, do something and, you know, have a zero tolerance to fuck this and fuck that and he's a cunt, she's a cunt, and start drawing a line between what our children should be hearing and seeing and being violated with, then something isn't going to change. And if it doesn't change, then our society, I'm not even talking about the planet, mate, the planet will look after itself. The planet will live, breathe, recycle, regurgitate. Nature will free flow, wiggle without us, mate. In fact, before we could fuck this planet up, the Mother Earth will kick us off. But in terms of us as human beings, if we don't change our way very soon, then society and civilization as we know it, especially here in the UK, is heading for an absolute fucking catastrophe. So we, the UK people, and I'm talking to the UK people here, and this is particularly why we need the autistic community. And one of the gifts with a lot of the high-end spectrum of autism is the running of the processes. You know, they're perfect for the think tanks. We need these think tanks right now. I know a lot of people are anti-think tanks, but we need think tanks right now. We need big mass communities within every community. We need think tanks all the way around. Give them a new name or whatever. Call it a community conversation. So let's all have conversations in the community. There we go. I've just branded it. Conversations in the community with a coffee. Coffee and communication in the community. Hang on, let's get with it. Hang on, let's go for it. No, I don't know, because I don't promote coffee. So communicating communities, or communities communicating, or I don't know, cities communicating in the community. Anything, I don't care. Just get out and start talking to each other. And it's not about drowning in problems. It's about saying, look, how many people really are pissed off with this particular matter? Is it getting to you? Is it getting to you? Even if it's just the fact that, you know, here are the residents, the community centre. If I went to every single one of my neighbours here and said, look, what time would you like to use the community centre? Hey, right, I've got 20 people that are all saying this particular time. Well, then, you know, the community and majority wins. Do you know what I mean? But then you've got to look at the other people and sort of say, okay, so where does the minority come in? And we are literally, as a UK, and not just UK, this affects a lot of people, but UK, we as a UK, our parliament, our government, so basically people who are members of parliament, so just as they're exiting Brexit, we should be turning around and saying, well, we're exiting parliament. Do you know what I mean? Bye. But we need something. We don't, and London is just the base, and then you've got all these different constitutions and stuff like that. But it will be the autistic community that could really come in with some really amazing, great solutions. They spend a lot of time in their heads, a lot of time. It's not great to be in here, you've got to be in here. But they do have great hearts, but we need to bring them out from here and into here, into their gifts and tools. And when you see that community come alive and you start seeing the artwork and the poetry and the films and the speeches and the creations of that community. The other one, I mean, Downs community. I really hate to put people under these oomph, but that is what society has done, and we need to banish this now. And it's only because we as individuals look at people as Downs, autistic, learning difficulties, disabilities, black, white, skateboarders, BMXers, and it's really difficult for anyone to fit in, and people with autism don't quite know where they fit in, and this is where the middle piece of the puzzle comes together. hence why we need it. I'm going to change that title anyway, because it's not just about a call for autism, but we do need all people to basically step into your true authentic selves very, 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 very quickly, and pick up whatever it is that you wish you had once done. So if you think that you're a bit green fingered, then get out there and start planting stuff. I don't know how in and out of season you are right now, but do what you can right here, right now, and plan for the future for what you can be doing for when you can. If you want to be part of a regeneration community, then be part of that. If, like, I've just spoken to a lady today who doesn't know what to do with herself because she was a thing on typewriters and word processors, and we now live in a world where that doesn't exist, and she feels too old to even actually learn that. And because she's been diagnosed with cancer or terminal today, then it doesn't really seem much sense in learning about it. But I might show her. I was telling her some of the things on how to analyze her body, but I might show her through the internet, because I don't think anyone's probably shown her. Maybe, who knows, maybe she's got a lot to say, who knows. But I don't know, I just feel right here, right now, that we all could really do something. And rather than just sitting back and going, oh, Boris a cunt, or could he maybe do it? One of the things that I've learned about all of this is you can only do what everybody's on board with. And if we're not on board with our Prime Minister, whatever team he bats for, then it isn't going to happen. And he just fails, and everybody looks at him and says, like, oh, well, he failed. Well, no, he failed because we failed. And if he's not a great motivator, if he's not, hey, come on, Great Britain, let's get our acts together. Let's all come on. Let's go and get Mr. Motivator and get everybody in Great Britain. So up in the morning, come on, Great Britain, the alarms are going off. I'd fucking do it to you, seriously. I'd set every town hall freaking alarm off at freaking 5:30 in the morning. No, I'll probably give you till 7:30. By 7:30, I expect you all out of bed. No, fucking 5 o'clock in the morning. Let's go and get the good old roosters. Yeah, let's get the roosters out the way that we used to do it. Yeah, in fact, they don't allow roosters in certain areas. Bring back the roosters. Let's get the roosters waking us up every morning here in Great Britain. You know what I mean? Wake up at the crack of dawn and, get Mr. Motivator out there and get everybody going and sending them off to their jobs happy and clappy and hi-ho. It's off to work we go. Come on, slaves, so take off them slave robes, take off them labels, take off all of them freaking depressions and suppressions that they've given you. Give yourself a bit of a wake up. The battlefield of the mind, it's going to go on whether you like it or not. And even I have to get harder, stronger, faster. Hence why I'm looking to other people who beat the battle, overcome the battle. But the thing is, people don't really talk about it when they're going through, the suicide battle. Do I want to die? Yeah, of course I fucking do, mate. I hope to God a fucking asteroid drops on me tomorrow. I want to go home. Seriously, I want to go home. I hate this planet, this world right now. Like, I don't, but I do, but I don't. I'm really annoyed with it. I'm really annoyed with people. Like, I'm annoyed with myself as well. Like, of course I'm annoyed with myself. But yes, I want to go home. Yes, I hope to God tomorrow I'll wake up and the bus hits me. The only thing that's my hurdle is I want to make sure that Dean's with the boys before, so I'd probably have to plan it, but it'd be a bit difficult and stuff like that. So yeah, it'd be easier to get knocked by some fucking spaceship coming. Do you know, we actually nearly got hit by an asteroid the other day, and even actually it was India that picked up on it. We were really shit. We didn't even fucking see it coming, mate. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel that it really, really is a rise of communities right now. And, even just little simple things like maybe in your local community, like we've got 2-3 days left on these free things. I don't know if I'm going to go yet. I don't really feel like it. It would probably do me the world of good to go. But I can't be asked whinging about my petrol. Liam's actually got the day off tomorrow, so hopefully he's going to give me a hand to move these things about that I just can't shift between the 2 units, and once I can do that, then I can, and also then it might give me a chance to go and get my phone fixed so I can take the photographs to upload things, to sell things, all these stupid little hurdles that are in my way, hoovers that break, that take 45 minutes to fucking hand brush my carpet if it goes on me and shit. Seriously, second-hand living is a nightmare. Mind you, even first-hand living is even bad. Anyway, I sort of need to disappear into some music. I'm quite overloaded, and I've got so many ideas running through my head, and like one of them, by the way, just to say before I go, every live I will be talking about the inquiry into children's social care. Is any dyslexics, could you please contact them by phone and let them know that you are dyslexic, and can you put your submission in under reasonable adjustments, and start showing them the problem with their system already. Not everybody can do Word documents, and can you also get your submissions in, like you've now got MPs folded now, so you've got until literally just over a month from today, so you've got until the 30th of August to get your submissions in to Parliament, reference the Children Care Services, and what I would like you to all do is to write it as an affidavit, as I've said. But in the meantime, can some people try to get in contact with them to just say that is this the only route to use, and what other facilities are there? So if you're blind, could you please get somebody to, in fact, we have somebody who's blind, so in fact, where is he? He might even be on here now. He runs a lot of the parent alienation stuff. He is blind, so if he could get in contact with them and start getting access for the blind, and if anybody is deaf, it shouldn't actually affect you if you're deaf, but if you're dyslexic and deaf, that's cool. And any person who's going to have a boundary, or you know of somebody who have a boundary, into just being able to write a normal document, because obviously you're not handwriting it, it's done on computer. So even if it's you don't have a computer, and then obviously start letting them know about what facilities may or may not be around to help, and start letting them know where your challenges are in actually doing this. It's not easy for everybody to just do this. So, and a lot of people also go to your citizens' advice as well. And go to your citizens' advice. The more people who know about this, the better. So what you're doing is being free marketing by word of mouth. So the more you talk to people about it, the more people will go, oh, I didn't know there was an investigation. Well, there will be an investigation. It's an inquiry right now. They're just inquiring. We want an investigation. We want full-blown fucking investigation into all of our cases. So hence why I need you to do this. It's really important. It's really urgent. And if you don't do it, like I said earlier on, I don't know what other route to take, because if we don't get this into an investigation, I haven't got strength to go again. Not this level of work that's gone into this. You don't see how much work goes into it. I mean, I've posted up my email to the person who's taking over Nadine to start it all off already. So, you know, I do far more than you ever realise. So anyway, my battery's going to go on my phone. I'm on my iPad at the moment. Well, not my iPad. If only I could get my iPad working. I've got 4 iPads sitting up there, and not one of them I can get to do the full-blown whistle-blowing thing, and they won't sell for anything either. So it's a pain in the fucking ass. It's doing my nutting, and in fact, I can't even copy and paste on them. I can copy and paste on this, but I can't copy and paste on that. I have to plug the mouse in to be able to do that. It's all just doing my damn bollocks, and it's really, really annoying. So anyway, I can't even remember what day it is. It's Sunday today, isn't it? Oh, we're in Monday now. So in fact, half an hour ago, Monday morning motivation kicked off. So if you're staying up, then please go over to my page, Monday Morning Motivation with Kelly. Connect up to it. I may be on today, I may not. It's actually run by a bot at the moment. So all the posts and everything are all preset. So Amber would have been there earlier on to preset the posts and stuff, and I still use it to Yeah. Amber said it was Jada Smith. Yeah. We catch up with some messages. I don't always get a chance to read the messages because call it person A. Call it person A. Call it the person. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, this is really difficult because even just by saying the name of the film, I've already actually identified one of the people on the list. This list, by the way, I'm talking about what's connected to Epstein case that's going on at the moment, and Jeffrey Epstein is wanting to do a plea bargain. I'll just tell you this before I go, which takes me up to 45 minutes. So basically, Jeffrey Epstein is a person who's a billionaire, is an entrepreneur, and he has an island over in, I can't remember where it actually is, but he has his own island, has his own house, and what they've been doing is flying kids in by the fucking goodness knows how much. This has been much bigger than just him. This is just one person. Obviously, you know, Jimmy Savile was involved. We know that some of our politicians, look, I'm not saying that the guy who's just been accused of saying that he claimed these people, look, chances are he was telling the truth. I would probably say very much so was telling the truth. Just like the Hampstead kids and a few other things. I shouldn't drink milk, by the way, it's really bad for me. Because it's bad for you. Cows don't drink milk. Cows don't drink milk. It's for the calves. But anyway, Jeffrey Epstein was a multi-billionaire who's recently been pulled in, arrested. He's just been found in a cell with his throat slashed, or attempted slashing. But he's been willing to take a plea bargain. You have to go over and check. If you go, don't get pulled into a lot of the stuff. In fact, I'm going to pull up CP News on this news network because Donald Trump is not part of this. I can pretty much say Donald Trump is not part of this. Donald Trump become witness to this and strategically decided how he was going to deal with this, and this is his way of dealing with it. Hence why he works for free. Hence why he's gun-ridden to deal with this. And once he's dealt with this, he will go back to normal business. He's in this to deal with this. I guarantee you that. Anyway, I need to find my dimps. I've got to give up smoking. Like, seriously, the low level that I've got to is just fucking crazy. But I'm just not willing to put money to fucking backy and shit like that while, you know, I've got 2 children and this place to keep going and loans for FEA to keep paying back. And yeah, it's just not something that I'm willing to prioritise in my budget. I don't drink, I don't take drugs, I don't buy clothes, I don't particularly eat much at the moment. So, you know, I'm already out. In fact, actually, I'm down to, where's my money gone now? Oh my godness. I'm down to 20, 40, 60, 70, 80, 95p. However, fucking pisses me off around here because it's Sunday today. All the local shops around here is really, because it's a student city, it is not catered for mums and stuff. You have to go all the way up to Asda or Lidl's or Thingamajig, but they're like, I mean, I'm lucky I've got a car, and they're shut today at 4, and going up there with the 2 kids with that, I haven't got the car seats in the buggy, and it really pissed me off, so we had to go to a local shop. So that is like £5.46 for that in normal little Tesco's, whereas if I went up to Asda, I would have got a whole pack of nappies for £3 something. Do you know what I mean? So it's crazy. Like, you know, they really haven't catered for families around here. It's really annoying. They really are trying to turn it into a city place. But anyway, in terms of this list, obviously Jeffrey Epstein's phone file has been released, and look, You could have my number in your phone and be a fucking bank robber for all I know. Do you know what I mean? So whoever's on his phone, it doesn't necessarily make them. He was a billionaire. He was an entrepreneur. You know, he's going to have plenty of people, but this was a different phone. Okay, so you've got Jeffrey's normal phone, and then obviously you've got Jeffrey's associated with this world and how they deal with it and stuff like that. And then you've got the fact that within the reports that have come in from the people who've made claims against Jeffrey Epstein, and obviously there were children discovered and found, so it's not allegations from historic. This is found to be current and been going on for back. So this is now the current to the historic. So what you've got to remember is when I first come into this and I learned all this stuff, I was living at Belinda's. I went into court, and obviously Belinda McKenzie was one of the first people. So I learned about skirts, and obviously a lot of the stuff that was going on. A lot of people don't believe Belinda. Don't forget, on Tuesday, by the way, is Savine McNeil's appeal for the fact that she got 9 years for breaking the gag of the 2 children in the Hampstead matter. Whether people think it's right or wrong, at the end of the day, she did what I would do. So basically it would be like me breaking a parent's gag and then going to prison for breaking their gag. So you can't really leave somebody like Sabine, because all she is someone like me, and whether or not, you know, what is true and what's not in relation to that case, this is the difficulty, which is why I don't. Otherwise, I'd be on there all day telling you about cases. I would be. You know, if parents will come to me with their threshold document and show me that they genuinely shouldn't have had their kids taken, I'd sit on there all day telling you. Do you know what I mean? But I need a solicitor to be sat by me if I'm arrested or pulled in, and you know, and like I've said, in the situation that I'm in, I'm not protected enough for this stuff. I'm so deep down the rabbit hole in this sort of stuff that it's completely and utterly crazy. You know, Jeffrey, they're pretty much sort of saying there was 200 children potentially they've intervened on, and I don't know what's going on with the natural law guys, because what you've got to remember is they've just done a great job on Wizzy websites, and you know, when they did the meeting, it would be like I could go and get a really cool hall and pull you all into a meeting and make you feel like it was, hey, I'm the director of Step Up Britain. I can bring them into Parliament and make you feel really official if you wanted. So I don't know the officiality behind it all, but I do know that the guy was actually really a CSI guy. And as soon as I see Nuala on there, I'm a bit like that. I haven't gone into all that sort of stuff. Body parts. Do I think it's going on? Yeah, of course I do. Goes on with the homeless all the time. Homeless go missing all the time, because whenever it comes to experimental stuff, or like even medications and drugs and stuff like that, where they can't quite test it on a sample of humans, they will take homeless off on the streets, and if they die, they die. You know, bodies can get donated to science, and that's it. Do you know what I mean? Nobody bats an eyelid. And that's pretty much what's happening with these kids. What I find really, really disgusting about all of this that I'd learned is their parents doing this. Okay, you can't actually call them parents. They're cash cow kids. They are literally created by people who fuck. Sometimes even actually, you know, some of these children have been pregnant up to 3 or 4 or 5 times, and they don't always terminate the baby. What they do is, if these girls get pregnant, they just then take the baby off of her and prepare that child for the next paedophile, the next network. You know what I mean? You know, babies are fucked, mate. Like, seriously. Okay, they die, but some of these babies are surviving now, and even over in other countries. I can't get my head around this shit. difficult for me because I don't always put the files out that I see, and the reason that I don't do that is because it's not the place to do it. It's not the place to do it. Fucking Crackbook is not the place to be doing all of this. We need to be in a congregation together, meeting, and town halls. It's ideal. Meetings, I mean, you've got Quakers places, and there's family houses pretty much all the way around the UK. The Quakers allow people to use their places. Churches allow them people to use their places. There's community hubs. Tesco's and Asda have got their own hubs for people to meet up with. You know, there's ways of us coming together to meet up, you know, any way, shape or form that we can do, and we really do need to be coming together. The reason that XR is so powerful is because everybody meets on Zoom, everybody meets up in meetings and comes together, and they do this religiously over and over. And also they got given 550,000 through their Just Give. They didn't get trolled like I do. God, could you imagine if I'd had 550,000 in there now? We'd be a long fucking way forward. And then they just got another 500,000 put in not long ago as well, just before the ships come in. So could you imagine? They haven't done this off the back of nothing, mate. They've done this off a lot of money donated to them to do it. Which is a bit of annoying, being it stems out of us, hence why they have an X in the middle. But then they should have been helping, and some turned red. But actually, I'm really disappointed. Even I can see you all on here as well, and the only person that I can see with a red X on there is Amber. That's how bad you all are. That's why I get to the levels that I do. That's why I get so overwhelmed, and it's why I get so emotional, because I come in here and then I see. In fact, Amber's not done my one on here because my son's on it. She hasn't done that, but she had done before. It's only recently just changed back. But my timeline is done. All my other pages are done. All the other pages are done. So literally, when I and my office one is. So when I sit, if I sit and go like, it goes the smiley face, and then it pops into an X. That's why I do it. Come on, it just pops into an X. And could you imagine if everybody was sitting there with XXXXX on the MP's lives? Like, come on, guys. Like, it's the 29th now of July, and we've got, what, 3 days left of Red X up in an FEA and Help the Adoption Drive. We've done so well to get by the 17th of July, which is why I've relaxed and not gone blue in the China shop and pulled back and gone, look, let's get all these submissions done. So it doesn't matter who you are or what you're about. The children's services affects you. Adult social services affects anybody and everybody, because even if it doesn't affect you now, you're going to end up in adult social care when you're older, whether you like it or not. So we all have to do something about our care system and our NHS. We all have to interject onto this into Parliament. Whether you want to talk about religion or politics, it doesn't matter. Whether if you can accept that people believe in God, whether you believe in it or not, Jesus is the Lord of my life. I wear his cross in my fucking heart. I was born with it. I live with the Holy Spirit. I battle every day with past demons and of who present and stuff, because like I said, if I went and worked in PR and marketing, I wouldn't have these problems. It's because I reunite families on a daily basis and help through these things. And I'm going to do something for everybody, by the way, who's got children on long-term foster care, because you can bring your children home. It's just whether or not you want to get pulled into all of this, or whether you just want to get your own home in order. And we can actually all disbar after this inquiry if we get this investigation, by the way. That's it. It's done. It's done. Like, by January, this whole thing, unless you want to go and join the police force and go foot through the door and save these kids this way, or you want to become a counsellor and help them, then we don't need to be on the internet talking about this stuff anymore. We really, it is now. It's now or never. It's now or never. Or it's going to get wrapped up so tight that we're going to have to come out so much bigger and stronger than we've ever been before. But for that, I'm talking, you're going to have to lock yourself to the gates, you're going to have to hold the ground, you're going to have hundreds and thousands of us up and you know, you're going to have people arrested on a daily basis. It's as simple as that, because we will not get to this level again. And there's not many of us actually that have been doing it. There's a lot of you that are sitting and watching us doing it, but there's not a lot of you doing it. So this is your case, your thing, your story. Send it to the submission, send it to the inquiry, you know, just put it in. I have actually done just an hour. So if you don't know who Jeffrey Epstein is, please go and Google Jeffrey Epstein, open it up. If you want to see the list yourself, go and have a look at the list, but I'm not willing to put it out until all the arrests have been done. They have sat through their cases. Yes, there's going to be people probably found guilty who weren't and innocent who weren't, and this is why it's so difficult. And I know hands on heart what it's like to sit in prison for 9 years innocent of a crime you didn't commit, and have your family, and I was one of their family members, day in, day out, battling for them. You know, that was for my Uncle Sam. So I am not willing to put the nails in anyone's coffin, because do I believe that Cliff Richard has got away with this? I don't know. I wasn't there. I wasn't one of the cases. I can't sit there and say Cliff Richard got away with it, or he was a persecuted innocent man. But Cliff Richard has a point, and he's taking it to the courts to say that any person who has been arrested for child matters should be private until found guilty. And if they are found guilty and they're innocent, they have a right to appeal. But I do agree that people do get wrongfully accused of this. And even we've got Cornell, right? And Cornell won't mind me doing this because he's begging for my help right now, and I haven't got the time or the money to go, and that's telling me a big car crash waiting to happen. So that's the Lord telling me, like, it would be too heavy for me right now in my life. But Cornell does need the help. He was, and I can even tell you the story. Both Cornell and Nikki are on the autistic spectrum, but both were parenting very successfully. They have a very lovely home. The daughter had a lovely home, and then she went to the doctors at the age of once she starts developing pubes, and her pubes were considered to be greasy. Her father was accused of that sort of matter. The daughter was removed, and he has protested his innocence since. Cornell has actually passed the lie detector test to say that this wasn't done. And I have physically seen the medical evidence. I have been through the paperwork. I have seen every inch of Cornell's paperwork. The doctors stated that because she was African American, it's greasy. Cornell is innocent. He is. And to any person out there who questions Cornell, I will 100% tell you, I have seen the doctor's report that was given after this allegation that said she is an African Caribbean child. It's meant to be greasy. That's just how it is. And I'm sure we have African Caribbean people here who can tell you that Western pubes are different to Eastern, to white pubes and black pubes are very different. And it was a very naive person who made such an assumption that has led to a man keeping bars on his door and his windows because of neighbours who started calling him a paedophile because of his daughter being taken away from him, and his daughter has been highly abused. I don't agree with Cornell's issue with then going and getting another woman pregnant. He then lost a child and all of that sort of stuff. But Cornell knows how I feel about that and what they went through and all of that side. And I don't necessarily agree with anything. And I probably wouldn't necessarily say to Cornell and Nikki, hey, would you mind having Elijah and Shiloh for the weekend? I'm off to go clubbing. That wouldn't happen. So my point is he was innocent about the allegations that were. Actually, do you know what? I would let Cornell and Nikki around the kids. That's there. I would go to theirs. In fact, actually, he makes me a lovely curry. But I that's not even personal to Nikki and Cornell either. I'm really funny about my kids, but No, no, I wouldn't just sort of think. If after lots of time to spending with my kids, I don't know, maybe down the road, who knows? But no, not at this point. But what I'm saying is the allegation to remove his daughter was wrong. And actually, do you know what? If he had his kids back and stuff like that, yeah, for me at the moment, it's more to do with the emotional pain, because obviously Nikki's in a lot of emotional pain. But they did actually manage to successfully raise her until quite an older age before this all happened. And then obviously they tried for another baby and he died. So yeah, but anyway, I'm going to shoot off. I've said what I need to say. I just don't forget, these lives help me. I am battling. I am having a hard time with it at the moment. I am feeling very crushed, very trapped. I just want to go and live somewhere really, 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 really quiet. And please don't tell me that the Lord wants me to do something here, because I just don't understand how I have the time and resources, and I've got the kids, and I've got all this stuff and the inquiry and everything else, and my plate is already like so loaded and so full, and I just look at it and think, oh God, I'm so full, I can't eat this. And I am tired and exhausted, and I barely sleep and I barely stop, and I'm pissing my fucking relationship up the wall over this, and my family and my friends and all this sort of stuff. And people aren't really taking it seriously, how I'm feeling. So I prefer being in this world, if that makes sense. In fact, Frank said something different, said something today about, you know, we really all need each other, to be honest. All of us that are in the same boat that our kids taken. And also, of course, to the autistic people as well. I don't like to say autistic people, but to that network is that, you know, a lot of us are having our kids taken, and in fact, just because we're labelled autistic, they just take kids up. They don't even bother to get to know us. It's just, in fact, there's another mum, she's going to have a baby taken just because she's classed as autistic. Fucking crazy, absolutely mental. So anyway, it's been the end of an entire week now. We're heading into a whole new week. Tomorrow, I'm going to be up in the morning. I'm 9 o'clock on the phone to it'll be to Boris Johnson's office first, then it will be to the new head of thing, then it will be to the child inquiry, then it will be, and then I'll be going down in the garden at about 10 tomorrow, and then yeah, so yeah, see how it goes tomorrow. Tomorrow's about another day, isn't it, guys, eh? But just remember, if I go down, don't mean you have to. I ain't your leader, but right now I'll lead you all into the fucking submission. Get your submissions in, like, seriously. Like, I'll be so gutted if there's only like 5, 6, 7, 8 of you, because this is it. This is, and if it isn't a problem, any problem, I just battle for my own case then, don't I? So how many people, and I will see how many people go into it, because I'll see the statistics at the end of it, at the reading, because I'll certainly be there. And I hope all you were there as well. So don't let me be the only person in the room again. Danielle was there actually, but at the reading. But you know, I was at every meeting for the adoption inquiry, and you know, lame guys, lame. So be the best version of yourself, okay? So tomorrow morning when you get up, try being the best version of you. And tomorrow when I get up, I will be, you know, try and battle these negative moments, and actually it's not even negative. I want to go home. I'm tired. I love Elijah and Shiloh. I do. I really, really, really do. And they keep me going every day. And to be honest, if it wasn't for them, I probably would have quit a long time ago. And of course Liam, and it's really hard for Liam to listen to that his mum's struggling. So but he's got his own battles going on as well. So we all miss our own faith. And it gets harder and harder and harder, because the longer it's been, the harder it is for them to maybe accept me as mum again. I don't know. That's what worries me. You know, am I going to do all this and my kids are going to turn around and say the adoptive parents are their mum and dad now? I posted a video tonight, by the way, of all of the separation over the families on thing. And they make a very indecent point, and you all need to use this in your cases, by the way. So it basically talks about the separation what happens, and they show a video of when the boy has been reunited with his mum and then rejecting his mum. And this is something that's going on in pretty much all cases. Even I had it when I saw her on her faith the first time. And they use this against you to say your kids don't talk about you. It's emotional trauma. They're starting to understand it now. Now we need to actually explain the damage that they've done to us, and maybe they'll start learning a lesson and changing their ways. But unless you put your submissions in, they ain't learning jack shit, because they ain't going to learn it from their own understanding, are they? They can only learn it from yours. So please, 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 please get your submission in, and Amber will be putting it in the bottom here anyway. And yeah, my life's just about to cut, so I'm going to cut it anyway. See you in the morning. Have a great week. We're nearly at the end of the month, guys, but please keep going, come on. Like, yeah, come on, let's just end on a really good note. So please let social media people know and change over to your Red X from Forced Adoption Exposed, and it'd be lovely to see you all over on the lives with all of the MPs, liking them, laughing, and letting these X's go up into the ether, and then going, okay, maybe Kelly's not so grandeur in the end. If you don't turn up, I'm just grandeur. If you do turn up, then they're in shit. It's their submission, not ours. So anyway, catch you later. Bye.